One of them, and I'm actually a local actor here. And if you didn't realize this, but Phoenix is one of the real hotbeds of acting talent and filming talent. We've got the Phoenix Film Festival. We've got some local people here, local theaters that are just absolutely incredible. Yes, please. So, it's another acting question. I'm sorry about that. But when you're in a situation like this, where you've got so many talented people around you, and you love them so much, you want to work with them, what is the draw to go to Los Angeles? I mean, what is it exactly that you wouldn't be able to accomplish here that you can accomplish there outside of just the vast number of auditions? What is it you're looking for when you go to LA that you can't get in Phoenix?
You can't go to the beach here. Listen, very seriously, Los Angeles is where the film and television industry is headquartered. I mean, that's just where it is. And if it's what you want to do with your life professionally, you have to go there. I mean, you have
to go there to be sent away.
Yeah.
And go work out of town and out of the country.
Right, and you have to go there so you can go to Vancouver. And that's just how it works.
However, if you found an acting family right here in Phoenix, and this is where your heart is, then, my God, you have hit the jackpot, sir.
Yeah, to be able to be an actor and not have to live in Los Angeles is kind of my dream.
So are you guys available?
The one thing Los Angeles needs no more of.
People.
Actors.
No, just people. People need to go. It'd be great if half of them would leave.
I'm actually going to be a little bit of a jerk, and I'm going to try and scoot everybody along a little bit. We have quite a long line. I didn't see anybody lining up before in front of the mic, so I didn't know how many questions we'd have. Please go ahead, sir.
This question is for Jonathan Frakes. Was it meant to be, or did it just happen that you always looked skeptical as Commander Riker during every single episode?
It just happened. That's why I could never get any commercials.
Who wants a skeptical spokesperson for their product?
But it did make me the official spokesperson for the paranormal.
There we go!
Good evening.
Which is the last place you expect a skeptic to be.
Next.
Hello, guys.
Helping out here.
Huge honor.
I can use it
Huge
as
honor.
it gets up.
One quick one for each of you. 2 Rikers, amazing episode. Would you say that was the
That was
only
Lamar Burton directed that
Was
episode.
that really? Was that the
Second
only
chances?
time
I love second chances!
you were matched with
All
two?
fights all the time. How could you go wrong?
Twice as much
My next
rate
one's for you. So, would you say that's the only time in the show and perhaps your entire career that you were matched in acting ability?
Marina always said that she thought that Thomas Riker was much cuter than Will Riker.
Lamar, do you remember in Reading Rainbow when you went to the Crayon Factory? Because everyone in my generation remembers that as like the trippiest thing ever, and can I get that on DVD somewhere? And Will Wheaton, seriously, it took like 30 minutes into this to mention Ashley Judd. What really happened there?
I would never tell.
He totally Rikered her.
Rule 34.
And I really am Spider-Man. He actually stole part of my question, so I'm going to make this even faster. I do want to say thank you, LeVar, for Reading Rainbow. I read that, I saw that as a kid constantly, and now I actually graduated with a PhD in children's literature. I write and I'm a feature writer, and I review children's books constantly. So, quick question for all 3 of you. What do you think your favorite outtake was in Star Trek? I mean, you get so many good behind-the-scenes stories, so if any of you have a favorite, outtake.
My favorite thing ever is the very first time I remember any of us walking into turbolift doors and they didn't open, and it was Johnny. the back turbolift and the upstage right on the bridge, and the scene goes on, and you just hear thud, crash, and then from back in the turbolift, like just slightly muffled, shit. Like, it was in the first season. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was in the first season at some point. It was awesome.
Mileage out of those turbos.
Thanks, Spidey. We're going to keep this line moving so we can get as many people in here as possible.
We're out of here. You guys want to come back?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Show of hands, who's coming back to get autographs at the table in the other hall? Wow. Okay. All right. So we'll be there signing for another half an hour or so after this. Sorry, Art. Go.
This one's for LeVar. I was wondering about the visor. Like, do you still have that?
Yes. It is in the original prop box that Charlie Russo handed to me every time we put the visor on, and I'm determined that it. Well, and by the way, there's a visor being sold someplace, and they are touting it as one that I wore, and it's simply not true. The one that I wore, I've got, and it's going to put my kid through college.
It was a very interesting experience to watch the visor being put on because it didn't go simply or easily. It was literally screwed into LeVar's head. It was screwed until it was tight enough to stay on. Nuts.
One of these days I'll bring the visor and I'll show you guys.
It wasn't pretty. Then he lost his peripheral vision. We got
And on that, those little blinking lights on the side of your temples, how did those go on there?
Magnets. They are magnetized. I'd like to be able to say I'm just that talented to not to cause lights to blink on the side of my head. I'd only be lying.
You had a question, miss?
Like, real quick, thank you, all three of you, for everything you've done, even since Star Trek Next Generation, Mr. Frakes with the directing, LeVar with Reading Rainbow, and Will with the Folks, and the Guild Season 4. My question is, in that 7 years that you spent working on Star Trek The Next Generation, what is that one lesson that each of you have learned that you carry with you through everything you do? What was that one lesson that sticks out in your mind that you always come back to?
For me, it's the third rule of acting. Don't bump into the furniture.
Live each day as if it's your last.
Yeah, take nothing for granted.
Yes.
Thank you.
And the chowder at the commissary on Fridays is generally pretty good.
Two quick questions. One for Jonathan. Did you enjoy doing the voiceover for David Xanatos in Gargoyles?
Fabulous job. I wish it was still on the air.
And then the second one is, out of all three of you, who are the best pilots? In terms of captaining a starship.
I didn't even know how it worked. All I used to do was yell red alert. And all kinds of shit happened.
I actually taught myself actual command sequences that I made up for put the ship to warp speed.
So did LeVar, man. LeVar did that before you did that. LeVar had those beautiful hands working the dials, and you could tell the sequence he was. He didn't randomly tap away at that console. I can tell you right now.
Jonathan, I was just making shit up. I'm sorry. I really didn't know how to fly the ship.
Are you serious?
After all these years. I hope you don't think any less of me.
And the reason I mention that is because in the comic book of the newest movie, Star Trek, you have LeVar being the pilot of his own ship. And then the one where you, Jonathan, married Deanna Troi, you're a captain. And then...
what about Will?
Well, yeah, Will in the Next Generation. That's where I asked the question. Like,
Well, I'm gonna step in as use my moderator power since we really are running solo on time. Maybe let the young gentleman ask his question.
Gets the last question. What's your name, sir?
Elijah Sorter.
Elijah.
It's all yours, man.
It's all yours.
Well, what was your favorite episode playing in Next Generation?
Will.
My favorite? I loved it when we were on the holodeck. I think the Robin Hood episode, because we weren't in our spacesuits, we hid in our spacesuits, and we got to dress up and look cool.
All right. I think the best episode we ever did was Best of Both Worlds, where the Borg.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy.
Anytime I I got to work with Patrick Stewart was incredible, but one of my favorite working experiences ever, and I don't remember the title of the episode, we're flying in a shuttlecraft together because he's going to have something done to his artificial heart. And the way that script was written, I'm piloting the shuttlecraft and he's just sitting next to me. And on the day, Patrick Stewart said, you know, this just doesn't feel right. I don't believe this scene. I don't think Picard would stay here and sit next to Wesley. So Wesley can fly the shuttlecraft and then Picard's going to go sit in the back and just be by himself. And then Picard will sort of ask Wesley to come back and sort of sit with him, and they'll chat, and they'll have cucumber sandwiches. And it was one of the first times that I got to spend an entire day's work with Patrick, and I feel like I grew a level in acting that day just by being around him.
Thank you all very much.